Video game journalism is in a low place. Sites are constantly posting clickbait articles, hate-baiting gamers into clicking their awful pieces hoping it will pay their bills, and they are constantly embarrassing themselves. And now Kotaku, of course, is getting destroyed over their newest post claiming that backlash to the recently announced Star Wars Outlaws title proves we need more women protagonists, and they even claim people forget characters like Samus are female because they wear armor. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon or a supporter via YouTube membership. Now, of course, we are primarily going to be referencing this Kotaku article, and of course, I am using an archive because I'm not going to give them my clicks. It says Star Wars Outlaws backlash proves we need more women protagonists. Now, like clockwork, Kotaku covered this because they probably saw a few comments from people on social media saying, wow, this just really doesn't look that good. The main protagonist was a little bit annoying in the trailer, and we don't have a lot of information surrounding this title, so hopefully it will end up being fantastic by release. But of course, they go into this providing absolutely no evidence to back up their claims, and they look just dumb. They look absurd. They look ridiculous. It says Ubisoft's open-world Star Wars game is one of the most hyped titles to come out of Summer Games Fest 2023, with its GTA-esque gameplay intriguing players, its sexy droid turning them on, and its woman protagonist making chuds very, very angry. So there's a lot to unpack just here. I did not look at this in any way and say, wow, this is like GTA. It's very GTA-esque gameplay. I personally hate when people do this. They look at a new game and they go, oh, it's exactly like this other popular game. Sometimes, yes, it's unavoidable because clearly it's a copy and paste, but the game that this is closest to is another Star Wars game, Fallen Order, and its sequel, Jedi Survivor. The combat looks very, very similar, so you'd think that they would compare it to that, but they don't. They say the sexy droid is turning them on, which is just weird, and its woman protagonist making chuds very, very angry. The whole point of this article is that, oh, this female protagonist has pissed male gamers off. Now, do they go on to provide any evidence of these claims? A single screenshot showing backlash? Of course not, because honestly, it doesn't really exist. I have seen some people say the dialogue that we heard from her was a little bit Mary Sue-ish in the teaser, that she just seemed very strong, very independent, and she was a little bit annoying, right? But that is not trashing the character in her entirety, but of course they want to paint it that way in order to write an article to hopefully get hate clicks. They also make a completely absurd statement saying, aside from the Horizon series, which got backlash for giving Aloy realistic peach fuzz because men don't know everyone has a thin layer of hair covering their entire bodies, you'd be hard-pressed to find a AAA game led entirely and singularly by a woman. The Lara Croft series, sure, but even she had to go through a character rework to differentiate herself from her polygon-titted 90s counterpart, and Metroid Prime Remastered Samus is almost always in a full suit of armor, so it's easy to forget that her franchise is led by a woman. This is so ridiculous. I have never once gone, oh, I didn't see my character's face for a little while. I completely forgot that she was a woman. Yeah, sure, if you're new to the franchise and you're playing the first game, you might, forget every once in a while, I guess. I mean, even that is a stretch, let's be honest, because most people who are playing Metroid know that it's Samus, a female character under that suit of armor. It says after Star Wars Outlaws was revealed during the Ubisoft showcase, some Gamergate adjacent gamers, of course we can't go a day without mentioning Gamergate, took issue with its protagonist, a woman of color named Kay Vess, portrayed by Venezuelan-born actress Humberly Gonzalez. Now, I've got to be honest, I did not look at this character and go, oh my gosh, a woman of color, we need to get her out of here. This is terrible. Why would they do this? It is like the last thing on my mind. What I was focused on was the fact that, yes, her dialogue was a little bit annoying, and the gameplay, the elements that they were showing at the showcase for this video game. That's what my focus always is. But of course, they want to make it about, you know, that fact that she's a woman of color, and oh my god, she's been slightly criticized, even though they make it seem like she has been harassed to the ends of the earth. Some begged Ubisoft to let them switch to a male character, as they've waited years for an open-world Star Wars game and couldn't bear the thought of navigating through it as a woman. As a woman, I typically say I would prefer to have a customizable character. I would love to make my own decision, especially in a game where they are kind of touting how you can do anything you want and how you could be a criminal, you could be a good guy, you could be a bad guy. All of these different things, I would like that choice. I don't really think it's a make or break for most players, and no one is really saying that. Now, of course, they go on to say Star Wars video games and women. They, of course, mention how, the franchise is still reeling from the Mary Sue allegations and general hatred thrown at Rey, the lead in the sequel trilogy, an awful character in my opinion. And as mentioned, the vestiges of the Gamergate hate campaign linger throughout gamer culture. Now, of course, the main point of this is the fact that they are basically saying that because there is backlash to this character, or so they're claiming, we need more women protagonists to fight back against the incels, as they're calling them. Now, first of all, I have really seen no backlash, like I mentioned, to this character besides general criticism, but also we have plenty of women protagonists in video games, and they just act like they don't exist at all. Now, I decided to put up this tweet to basically give the finger to Kotaku. Kotaku does not deserve any positive attention. They're constantly posting ridiculous articles like this, and I listed off just a few characters in video games that happen to be female that have been part of best-selling video games and franchises, protagonists, characters who happen to be female, who are central to storylines in video games. And I would like to say that we are single-handedly destroying Kotaku, because it's got almost 500,000 views and it's got right under 8,000 likes in about 12 hours. And I have seen so many people claim that, oh, Kotaku only meant playable female characters, but they didn't specify, and they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. Plus, because they didn't specify, I also didn't include just playable characters, because it destroys their narrative even further. The definition of a protagonist is the leading character or one of the major characters in a piece of entertainment, whether it's a movie, TV show, or video game. So it destroys their narrative even further, because there's so many amazing female characters in video games that aren't the player character, yet they're the reason games exist and stories progress, like Zelda. She might not, be a playable character in mainline titles, but without her, the Legend of Zelda as a whole franchise wouldn't exist. Also, I didn't pick customizable characters because that would crush their trash article times 1,000. And just reading a few comments people are leaving, it is hilarious to see how much Kotaku is truly getting destroyed. Undoomed said Kotaku does nothing but complain about every single thing. They're the true toxicity, which I completely agree with. I do not like Kotaku, I do not trust Kotaku, and I wish that they would just fade into the void, because nobody needs them around. Data Racer said, ha, bunch of liars. It's all gotten so played out by these SJW NPCs operating on an automated process now. Male protagonist equals this is sexist and reeks of misogyny. Female protagonist equals sexist bigots, and this is why we need more representation. There's even people on the Kotaku tweet about this, roasting them, saying Kotaku proves we need more actual game journalists. The Xbox / Bethesda event felt like 90% female pro tags. What are you even on about? And it's true. Most of the games that we saw throughout the Summer Games Fest showcases were female protagonists. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm not sitting here, raging because there's more females in games. I love that. But also, they are complaining over a non-issue at this point. I think that this was a hilarious article that just proves that they wanted to put out hate bait yet again. And I love to call out, the gamers, game rants, the Kotakus of the world and make them look absurd, which I feel a little bit proud that I did. But yes, as you can see, Kotaku is now claiming that there is backlash to the Star Wars Outlaw female protagonist, which they didn't provide any evidence on, and they are now claiming that we need more women protagonists in games while completely ignoring the ones that already exist. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this and of course found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.